Hey guys, we got the Marvel Arcade1up limited edition, one of 8,000. I don't think they actually sold 8,000, but we're gonna see what number we get. We're told it's a limited run. The box is awesome. If you haven't seen a photo of this yet, there's a ton of detail, and this comes shipped in an overbox. So if you order this from Arcade1up, you're gonna get this box. It's a pretty sweet collector's item, and this is upgraded. It's got Sandwad genuine joysticks and buttons, which none of the other Arcade1ups have. So we're gonna crack this open and talk to you about it in detail. We have the control panel flipped upside down and cracked open. These are Sandwad buttons. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick this up, but it is embossed in the button. So for the first time ever with Arcade1up, these are the real deal. These aren't the clones. Same with the joysticks. It does look like it is a four-way square. Well, actually, I think these are eight-way joysticks, but it's a square restrictor plate. That's a little disappointing. I need to do some research, but I think this arcade game, the Marvel Superheroes game, came with an octagonal restrictor plate. I'm going to confirm that later and I'll update the video. But my plan is definitely to replace these restrictors, and they're really easy to do that. You just have to push these tabs in on all four sides, pop the plate out. That's simple enough. I might also increase the weight resistance of the spring that's built into this pillar. That's pretty easy to do too, and the replacement springs are, I think, $5-6 on Amazon. Not a lot of money. This has the new stereo speaker setup. Thankfully, this is something I've wanted since the Arcade1ups came out. They originally would position one speaker in the control panel, but now they're finally where they ought to be, below the marquee, down firing, and a proper stereo speaker. I took this cover off just to take a closer look at the speaker. I'm assuming this is absolute bottom basement quality speaker. We'll try the audio later and see what's up, but 3-inch woofer. It's got a pretty big magnet on it. And I'm thinking this would be a good thing to replace in a future project, but we'll see how it sounds. This is the certificate it comes with. I'm number 2432, so Q, sad trombone for that. Was hoping for a lower number. It's nice. It's a foil. It looks like there were some issues with the printing, but looks slick to me. Looks good in the light. I'll probably frame this and put it next to the machine. Okay, we've got it fully assembled. As you may have seen, this is true for all the Gen 3 Arcade1ups, but we have a volume rocker now. So you can select more than just two options. Before you had off, medium, and high. And for some of the game cabinets, like we've got Pac-Man over there, high was really high and medium was high. So they weren't always calibrated really well to where it was a comfortable volume, but here you can really control it. So that's an awesome upgrade. Really happy with that. And then the three games are Marvel Superheroes, which is something that I played a lot in high school in the arcade. So I was never good at it, but I played it a lot. X-Men Children of the Atom, which I never played much, so I'm looking forward to getting into that. And then the Punisher, which I've never played, but I've read really good things about this. Beat 'em up, obviously, by Capcom, as are all the other games. And licensed for Punisher. I had never even heard of this until this cabinet came out. But again, I've heard some folks have said this is the best beat 'em up that Capcom ever made, which is a pretty big claim.
Oh! Pretty responsive so far?
Yeah, the controls feel outstanding.
It looks great. That surround sound, that second speaker,
Q sound.
real helpful.
That's what they used to call it. Yeah, I love that. That's great. And I can't say I noticed that it's stereo, but man, on the Street Fighter 2 cabinet, you noticed it was mono. And that was particularly egregious because they didn't have it down mixed for mono, so you would miss whole sound effects if they were on the wrong side of the screen. But knowing this is stereo, it's got the light up marquee, it's got upgraded buttons, it makes it feel a little more substantial.
Oh, so many choices. Gonna be everyone's least favorite X-Man.
Beta mailman.
My wife's son loves this game.
The light up marquee isn't too bright. I've read some folks to say that the Mortal Kombat Costco unit is too bright, especially if you're standing over it, you know, kind of like we are, you look down on the unit, the lights in your eyes, but it's not distracting for me at all. Would you say it is?
No, it hasn't distracted from me while I'm playing.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with this. It reminds me of the Golden Tee light-up marquee, where it's the looks like an appropriate color temperature. The Mortal Kombat one just looks washed out in addition to being too bright.
Yeah, this thing handles very well.
The buttons are convex, and any photos I could find of the original Marvel Arcade unit had concave buttons, so I guess if you're a purist, that's a distinction, but I thought the buttons felt great. It feels like a lot of surface area. They're maybe a little easier to slap than the concave buttons. This will really bother you if you have OCD, though. If you look at the control caption, it says back defense on both players. So really this should be reversed, and it's not, but I think that's how it was in the original. That's what I've read. So maybe that's just a mistake that's been carried through, but I don't know. It seems like a weird oversight to me. All right, you want to give Marvel Superheroes a shot?
Let's do it.
Some people have posted pictures of their units with pretty serious damage. I got mostly lucky. There are some really small scratches, like there's a little tiny white spot there. I'm not too worried about that. There's a little tiny spot on the corner. I think it must be on the other corner, but it's so small I can't even see it right now. I noticed it when I was putting it together, but I feel like I got pretty lucky. It's Arcade1up, so it's not perfect. There's always something wrong with the cabinet they'll ship you, but their customer support I wouldn't describe as responsive and quick, but they will fix it if they messed it up. So if you do buy this and you have a problem with it, send their support an email and let them know, and they'll replace it. I've even had an entire side panel replaced that was damaged. So if your unit comes busted up, make sure to complain. Final take on this cabinet, I think it's a good value. For the pro side of things, this unit is well worth the money, first and foremost because we truly have arcade quality controls for the first time in Arcade1up's history. There's a lit marquee. It doesn't have any light bleed like some of the aftermarket options that are available might have, and it's already included. The aftermarket ones are around $40 each, maybe even a little more than that. It comes with a foil. You may or may not care about that, but it's a nice little bonus addition. The screen is incredible. Now, this isn't unique to the limited edition cabinet. This is applicable to all Gen 3 Arcade1ups, but it looks great. And for the graphics, the bright, colorful, sharp graphics that you get with Marvel, this looks fantastic. Far better than any of my other Arcade1ups from Gen 1 or 2. On the con side, this has to be purchased at Arcade1up.com. Not a big deal, except that means you're paying a lot for shipping. We're all used to free shipping for something as expensive as this, but through Arcade1up's web store, you're paying around $40 in shipping. The screen isn't actually the right shape for this game. So the original arcade hardware was closer to a 16:9 aspect ratio. This is a 1.35 or 13.5 by 10 aspect ratio, because it isn't a perfect recreation of the screen you got in the arcade. The restrictor gates on the control sticks are square. I would have preferred octagonal. That the octagonal is the standard for American fighting games. Some games might have a round restrictor gate, but the square is frustrating. Now, it's not unheard of in Arcade1up's defense. A lot of Japanese fighting games use the square restrictor gate from what I've read. So it's not crazy, but it is not my preference. And the speakers, although it's nice that you can adjust them in such a fine-tuned way, it's not just quiet, medium, and loud anymore like it was with the older generation Arcade1ups. You can now move it from a 1 to 15 point scale. The speakers are fairly weak, so I think that's okay. I mean, it sounds fine, but if you're looking for, any bass, for example, you're really going to want to replace these speakers. Overall verdict, again, I think this is well worth the $400. I'm really happy with this purchase, more so than any other of the Arcade1ups that I have. I think that they're getting better by leaps and bounds with every generation, so I'm excited to see what they come up with next. We'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching.